And if it wasn't hinted at earlier from Connor's comment, but this week we watched
Serial Experiments
yeah,
Lain.
sorry.
Or as Andrew calls it,
my serial experiment Lain.
Because we corrected him on his mistake, and then he just, despite us, never fixed it.
So it's the same way he still calls tsundere as tsunderes.
It's the same.
Refuses to fix that.
But Jay, you haven't seen this, so this is why I said it's gonna be very confusing for you.
Oh, I'm excited.
Serial Experiment Lain is Connor's second choice for us to watch. After we came off of Midori Days last week, we need to watch a good anime.
No,
Let's watch Serial Experiment Lain.
No one said that.
Yeah, I think Connor should explain the process behind his choosing of this.
My process of my choose. Wow, that was hard to say. The way that I chose my animes for this little list was it's like stuff you would kind of put on your bucket list. I just needed to get rid of some of this stuff.
Things you need to watch eventually.
Yeah,
but
some of the random shit I've been watching this week was Nichijou and
Azumanga Daioh.
Oh yeah,
Azumanga
I forgot
Daioh.
we were watching Nichijou.
Yeah,
that was great.
I was
really
those out of the way.
I was really sad I had to stop watching Nichijou to watch this.
Yeah.
Nichijou's great.
But so continue with your train of thought, Connor.
So I was like, oh, this is like this show that everyone talks about, like being really deep and weird and like hard, like kind of hard to follow, but it has like a lot of stuff behind it.
So Evangelion.
And
last 2 episodes.
My God, did this thing deliver in almost like the wrong way?
Honestly, I felt like this made a little bit more sense than the last 2 episodes of Evangelion, but that's beside the point.
But see, here's the thing. With this, it was the entire series was that confusing.
Instead of condensed down to 2 episodes, it was 12 episodes. So, Dawson.
It was 13 episodes.
Oh, 13. Dawson, please tell us what Serial Experiment Lain is about in a very non-spoilery way.
I don't care. It's the first thing I have to say about this show, and it'll probably be the last thing I say about this show at some point. I just didn't care. Nothing about this show made me care. But if you would like a summary...
You just wanted a plot summary, Dawson.
If you just wanted a plot summary...
I didn't want a review here yet.
It is about... I just thought I had to get that out there. But basically...
It's been building up in him.
There is a girl named Lain who lives in a house, and she asks her dad to get her a new computer
because
after some girl who commits suicide sends her a message
to be like, yo, get up on the web.
She's like, hey, I'm dead, I'm not dead, even though I committed suicide. Get on the webs. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna go get a new
she's
Navi.
Just saying bodies are overrated.
And
link
out. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff on bodies, and it basically spirals from there into a lot of things.
Oh wait.
Okay, yeah.
I forgot to say we had to do. I can't believe we didn't do this first.
I was wondering when you were gonna remember.
So, shall we all do this together?
No, we will do this at a time when no one's expecting it. I'm not building this up. We can do this at a random point.
Okay.
I may know what you're doing, and I really hope it's not what I think it is.
So, it kind of spirals down to this kind of art house piece. I don't know, like art house.
It's very stylized.
Yeah, it's very stylized. It doesn't really tell you exactly what's going on, and it's one of those animes where they say, "Yo, watch this 10 times and then get it."
It's the way I want to describe it is Y2K. It's a whole like scare because people don't really understand technology all that well back in the day. So it's like this is all like this crazy stuff that technology's gonna do. Like one of the weird plot points is the internet is leaking into real life, and they take that as a totally science fictional way instead of a just stupid like Digimon world shit kind of way.
They take it to a very literal perspective.
Like they actually think that could maybe happen, and it's
so
weird.
Now let's do our short
They
review.
don't just think. Oh, never mind.
Let's do our short reviews on this before we get into our long discussion. So,
really quickly before that, also. Quick note on the art, and the whole thing's very minimalistic with their sound design, their visuals, the animation.
And it's very old. It's from 1990.
Yeah. I don't know. They have a lot of detail.
No, they do not have a lot of detail.
Any scene with Lane's room.
Which, wait. Can I just say Lain has the most adorable pajamas known to man.
What does that have to do with what we were talking about?
Not a what?
I mean, it does. They're kind of cool looking.
Oh my god.
But
Jay, I will send you a picture as they're talking right now about this of Lane's pajamas.
Are we really gonna argue about this though?
Pajamas?
There are scenes where it's minimalistic, but then you see like the shadows.
Most of the
shadows
time.
aren't even shadows. They're like this bubbling
okay,
lava
that's just a
substance.
fucking copy pasted texture. They use it for fucking everything, and it's not that special looking.
Yeah, so
It's not just a black shadow, but it's literally just like some purple blobs.
So does that fucking
on
Count of
some
Monte
black.
Cristo anime. I forgot what that one's called.
Okay,
one
The
I
Count
like
of
so
Monte
much.
Cristo is a great movie, but I haven't seen the anime.
Is that what it is? It's the
It was originally a book.
what's the fucking anime that's like that? It uses the stupid Chowder. You ever watch Chowder?
No. I
Oh.
watched one episode of Chowder, and I was really disturbed by it.
Hey
Yeah,
Jay,
And I didn't watch
this
it
is
anymore.
Lain
this is
kind
the
of does that too with
pajamas.
its shadows.
Shit.
Lane's shadows has this like texture that kind of like bubbles in the background, and
It
I
doesn't
agree.
move, though. It doesn't move.
It kind of.
It just sits there.
Mm.
They have a special shadow texture, and it just sits there as a weird shadow texture. That's all it does.
It was odd.
It's just like, hey, look at our cool shadow texture. Aren't we a cool show? It's
I
like,
think
no.
Dawson's a little bitter about the shadows.
Wait, Jay,
There's
were
a
you
lot
able?
of things.
One second, Jay, were you able to see that image?
It's not linking correctly, but I'm trying to see what's going on.
I'm about to send you the better one.
Because
Yes.
as a show, I'm not gonna say, oh, I really like this or this is my favorite show, but like design wise and like just looking and watching and listening to it, like this was actually really interesting to just kind of experience.
There's a lot of
I felt most of it was poorly executed and overused.
So this
Every
is the
ti-
pajamas?
Every time they showed something cool,
One second.
they'd reuse it
To hammer in
too
the
many
point.
times
Yeah.
until it was dead. And it was long dead. And it was... I don't know. This show should have been like 3 episodes.
It should have been
Three
FLC.
OVAs.
It should have been FLCL with 6 episodes.
No, it couldn't even handle 6 episodes. You gotta break it down to 3, dude.
Jesus,
Yeah.
Dawson.
So, Jay, for your information, yes, that's the pajamas. What is your opinion?
Save me now.
Aren't they the best pajamas ever?
You know, I fear just by looking at this one picture of pajamas that the rest of this anime would scare me.
Oh, it will.
So it's
okay.
actually a
Okay.
little bit
Take
frightening.
FLCL, right? You've watched FLCL.
Yeah.
Take out the fun.
Take out
Oh,
all the
no.
fun.
And make it ridiculously slow.
Oh no.
And even more like hard to understand.
So,
The
what is your
best
guys'
part about
small
FLC
review of this? With
No spoilers, small review.
Watch while high for the weirdest trip ever.
Don't.
What about-
What?
It's please don't. That would not
Get-
be a good
Dawson said
experience.
he would it would ruin him if he watched this high.
Grab some alcohol, take a seat, and just enjoy.
No, even
Just
better.
don't
Find a
watch
friend
it.
who knows nothing about the show and watch their reactions as they watch the show.
AJ, next time we hang out, we'll watch this.
Oh no. No, this is one of those Did You Get It shows. And
It is.
I don't
it
want
is.
to watch a Did You Get It show.
Did you get it?
So, let's.
We looked up multiple exclamations and they were all different.
So-
Oh yeah. Oh, of course.
So before we get into that discussion,
Are we doing our reviews?
Yeah,
or
let's
does
do
that
it.
count as it?
let's do. What do you think?
I think
what
we
do
know
you
what Dawson
recommend?
thinks.
I think you can tell what I can whether or not I recommend this. But let me just say, I didn't care about the show. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about the main plot line. I didn't care about the art style. I didn't care about most of the music. The only thing I found interesting about this show was its underlying concepts, and that is not enough to redeem it for me. I do not recommend it to most people unless you're like really into this sort of thing. And I like slow stuff, and this was just way too slow. The pacing was way off.
So hopping off of that is that I
Yeah.
don't like slow stuff, and I found myself. Okay, I kept saying it's like, okay, I need to watch this. And every time I watched this, I felt intrigued by the images that I was seeing on the screen, and I felt that there's some underlying meaning that once I get it, everything will be just like that, and everything will just be like, this is the best, like this is actually really interesting and really in depth and stuff like that. But the problem is, every time I stopped watching it, I went, shit, I have to go watch that.
Okay.
And then I drag myself to watch it, and then click on another video. And this is one of the worst. This is one of the slowest experiences I've had watching an anime. Where I'd watch half an episode, go watch something else for like 20 minutes, come back and watch the rest of the half of the episode. Or, you know what, go do something else with my life. The only time I actually binged it is when me and Connor sat down, and I sat there in silence for 8 episodes.
Yeah, you're being kind of lame, honestly. I was having a good time.
No. Connor, you sat there just coming up with theories and all this. It was like, oh, if you put this together and this together, 2 minus 1 equals fish. Illuminati
What
shit.
the fuck? I didn't say anything near that.
Andrew's making,
I was just
making
saying
things
the information they gave to us thus far. Andrew would look away from the screen at like the most vital moments and go, Connor, what'd they say? After the guys just said like an essay of shit. And I'm like, Andrew, I'm not explaining this to you. The fuck?
No. Okay, some of those moments I was eating, and I looked down to put a piece of food in my mouth, and looked up and realized I missed 2 minutes of a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
The entire time I was watching this, I was just sitting there with my head in my hands, like, give me something to care about so I can stop wanting this to be over.
I kind of felt that too. I wanted it to be over, and honestly, I can't recommend it. I don't understand how it reaches that 7.98 on my anime list, because I feel like a lot of other people who
dude, it's an 8 point something on IMDb too. Like, people like this shit.
It's all the art people.
People
like
liked
art
White
stuff.
Album too. I don't know why.
I know why.
I can understand why you would like this show, and I understand why people do like this show, but I personally
Do not like
really
this.
do not like this show.
Okay, let's keep moving forward,
Yeah.
and then we can talk more in depth, because this
Yeah.
is just kind
Okay.
of stunting our stuff right now.
So you would recommend this then, Connor?
Okay, mine's a little bit more complicated than Dawson's. Don't touch this shit with a 49
I mean, you
hole
can.
review.
Some people, if you think you'd like, if you read the description and watch the first episode, and you think this is interesting, watch it. You're gonna have a good time.
You will know
But
what
if
you're
you
getting
watch
into.
the first episode and you're like, why should I care? Just stop right there. You're not gonna care.
Okay,
They're not gonna give you anything.
This is definitely kind of too deep for you stuff in a way. However, unlike FLCL, I felt like in conversations I could actually I understood better what the characters were saying in conversations. But as the show as a whole was really confusing and really disjointed, and it never helped that fact. Whenever you thought it was explaining something, it made it even worse. Until like the last two episodes.
You're right. It did do that.
So,
see, with Lizard Evangelion, I had a good grasp on its plot even towards the end.
let me finish. No, just kidding. So as a
No,
whole,
I will interrupt you.
as a whole, I really enjoyed like the actual process of watching it and seeing just what kind of weird shit they would put on the screen next. And it was repetitive, like Dawson said, but I felt like every time they did repeat something, there was a slight variation to it. It was almost like a pattern, but with like they were changing little bits. Like that kind of kept it a bit more interesting. So all in all, if you like just kind of experiencing weird shit and you want to try and figure out this mystery, or if you really like,
Yeah, wait.
if you really like the end of Evangelion or any mindfuck moments or fucking Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, shit
Or
like that.
FLCL.
This is absolutely nothing like FLCL.
Oh my god, because you liked FLCL and you don't like this. That's why. No, I'm sorry. Anyways, but the theme of this,
There's nothing that's the same about them.
besides how everything is just a metaphor for something else, and like it's really hard to understand the stuff, and it's all weird and artsy, and like
It really wasn't
they're
that
talking about
hard to understand either of these.
there's this weird godlike character in the background that ends up not being that important, and they okay.
If
Anyways,
you just roll with the punches and don't question it, it really isn't that confusing.
what?
Hey, Jay,
Lain
you
or
watch FLCL. Was that
Both.
confusing to you?
FLCL was interesting. I think for the most part, if you just sat there and watched it and you didn't try and, I assume if I watched it a second time, I would have a different opinion. But if you just sit there for the first time and watch it and say, "Oh, okay," I mean, that was probably interesting. There were some great gags. There's some great comedy and some great gags in there. And like most people, if you really analyzed it, you could probably sit down and come up with a bunch of theories. But if you just sit and watch it, it's entertaining.
So what I feel like Lain did differently than shows like that was, like Dawson said, the underlying theme, which was this weird cyberpunk kind of Sorry. Oh, higher. Sorry. Jeez. What was it called? The Y2K. Like, what else can I kind of put
Okay,
in
if
here?
FLCL,
War games, stuff
yeah,
like that.
okay.
It's like the old like.
If FLCL was kind of this piece about growing up and maturity and sexualization stuff like that, this is more like internet and the future of internet and a lot of computer stuff.
And yeah, but it's like people who didn't really understand it. So it's like, oh, there's this analog computer, but it has the power to control reality and shit like that.
So yeah, it comes from the pre-internet era.
Yeah, when they didn't really understand it, and there's all these like fears in the back of people's minds. It also has to do with sort of like people's addiction with the internet. A lot of that comes up where it's like, oh, I don't need the real world. This is like the only world I need and stuff. So if those are kind of the themes that you're into, this might be the kind of show for you. Also, personally, I can't give this a number rating. It was an experience.
Oh, I'm gonna ask for numbers later.
And I don't regret the fact that I made myself sit down and watch this because now I can say I did and kind of.
I regret the fact.
What, really?
No, I'm kidding. Dawson regrets the fact.
This was
I
off
just
my
feel
bucket
like
list.
I wasted my time. I mean, I feel like I needed to watch it to know that I wasted my time, and because so many people talk about it.
It's like how you need revenge to know that you didn't need revenge.
God, can we not talk about that yet?
Wait,
Can I
what's
ask a
that
question?
from?
Gate,
That's from
dude.
Gate.
Oh, that's the best.
What's up?
I actually have a question. Do you think, I mean, naturally, I haven't seen this, but do you think that maybe at the time in which this was produced, people liked it a lot more than perhaps someone who, we watch it in 2016? So do you think it had a lot more impact in 1998 when it was first produced?
Oh, definitely,
I
because
feel-
people didn't know shit about technology back then.
I feel a couple years later is probably when it got its biggest.
Yeah.
I didn't look at this or anything, but I'm guessing when it first came out, a lot of people probably
Didn't get it.
dismissed it offhand.
Granted,
And then a couple people, and then it's probably started getting popular a few years down the line.
granted,
That
here's
was
the thing.
still a
been
long
Lain.
time
Here's the
ago,
thing.
though.
We
Yeah.
consider it slow. But the thing is, like, if you think about it, how speed has always been picking up throughout the years. 18 years ago, people might have looked at this and thought it was at a
Dude.
good pace.
It's made at the same time as Ava, Die Buster, Cowboy Bebop. All of those have
And
fine
they're pretty
pacing.
slow.
This is on an entirely another level.
I didn't even notice the slowness. I was so confused on the plot that I just couldn't.
Okay, you know what? We'll get to that in a
If
minute.
you're lingering
so
on
desperate
a
to-
picture,
Whoa. We'll move on. But the thing, because I need to find a place to cut this off now before we start getting
Because
Okay.
too
Andrew has
much.
to fill an arbitrary cut where he like splits up. I'm just kidding. I'm just being mean. It's okay. You can go ahead and stop it.
I mean, we do have to cut
Andrew's
up
like
our
pointing
videos.
back, get out.
Get out of the room right now.
But so overall, we would not recommend this for most people.
For most people.
Yeah, you can watch it. Watch the first
It's
episode,
alright.
and
We're
you'll
not the
know right
recommendation
then.
you're gonna listen to though, so you'll probably watch it anyways.
And if you're Jay, he would watch it despite us.
Yeah, maybe.
Jay's like,
Almost protest.